about how I've perhaps caught too much sun from playing football today. Andreas said I wouldn't get sunburn in the metaverse, which is a very good point. Yeah. So let's start with some general questions about perhaps what is the metaverse? What does it mean to you? What have you heard about it? Let's maybe just open up what you heard, maybe what you knew about it, and what you have learned recently. Who would like to begin?
So you can start if you if you don't have any objections, because metaverse, it's really it's the next step, as you mentioned in your video. It's an online virtual reality, and it's the next step. So just remember, guys, that what happened in 1992, that was the internet was born, and that was like 3 years of the web existed, and nobody couldn't understand. Nobody just understand that the future is the internet. So just what happened in 20 years. So just we can imagine our work, our life without internet. So without our gadgets, and anyway, just we can talk now. Just we have a club, just thanks to the internet. So of course that this next online step, I think it's kind of about maybe cryptocurrency and blockchain, and suggest what we have, that there is a the area that will be developed and is going to develop. And talking about metaverse, it's about combination, yes, our online world, our digital world, and our reality. So, and
Right.
thanks to some tools, as Andreas mentioned, some glasses, you can just correct your visualization of your real world. And also you can, some thanks to other gadgets, so like smart glasses or augmented reality, just we all know about the game Pokemon that was there. An example that how we can see the world, and it filled, just how we can trick our brain. So just we can see that it's we have also a lot of books and so many things that so thanks to these accessories we can change our real world. And it's a question, it's good or bad, but maybe just we can continue to talk about it. So.
Sure. Yes, we will. Thank you, Natalia. How about you, Andreas? How do you approach this whole concept or reality?
Yeah, I think companies in general are working on the approach to abolish input devices. I think this is the next step to overcome the need to type anything or to gesture anything you want to achieve with your device. So this is the one point, I think, to reduce input devices, and the other point to overcome borders between different applications, to make interchangeable what you do in one app to the other app, or with one device to another device. So it's supposed to become one space and one world you live in, without thinking about which app do I have to use for doing sports in the augmented or virtual reality, and which one do I need to make a conference or to sit with you in a cafe and to chat without having the screen in front of me. So
yes,
we shouldn't, I think we shouldn't think about what we want to do now and then do it. We just shall do it naturally in this virtual world.
Okay, good. Yes, it's a lot to get your head around. Presumably there has to be some kind of interface between us, people in the real world, and this virtual world that we are all perhaps going to inhabit. At the moment, I know Facebook has its company, Oculus, I think it's called, that they have this virtual VR glasses, the headset, and you mentioned the glasses as well. I know they're working on, or they have produced already, normal glasses which we can interact.
But they are very, very bulky at the moment, very big,
Yes,
and
all
not
headsets are.
so friendly to use. And what they also want to achieve is that it's just a screen, and the data will come from the 5G internet.
With just a screen, you mean just a pair of normal glasses?
Very, very thin and small, and there's not the computer power is in the inside of the glasses, because it's also centralized and comes from the servers. And this is the case why they put so much hope in the 5G internet, because big amounts of data won't play a big role anymore. And so you have only the device to display the things, and the calculation is done externally.
Right, I see.
So this
I think
also will become much more comfortable and natural,
okay.
as they say and hope.
So before I kind of brought this topic up, and had you heard much about this? Is it something that affects your work? Have you thought about it? Are your own respective businesses thinking about this? How will it affect you? Perhaps is a better question. How do you see it affecting you?
I think that Facebook that really pushed my mind just to think about it. Just like there was an association with Facebook because they
Right.
rebranded, and so it was really, of course, it's a company that everybody knows this company, and it's really what you mentioned that just I was thinking about Facebook and their strategy.
Right. Yes. Obviously, they have, with this big launch, they're completely rebranded what is already one of the biggest brands. Yes, I did watch Mark Zuckerberg's keynote speech. It was quite interesting. He talked with various experts about this and the potential for this moving into the future. A lot of the technology is still in development, but some of it is here. There is a growing number of people who use VR regularly. Is it something that you use? Have you tried it before? Is it something, do you have a VR headset in your house or your work?
I tried it once at work, but it doesn't affect me very much. At the moment, I'm not so much into it, and I'm also a bit skeptical to what extent it will really affect us in the near future. Maybe in a few 100 years, things will have changed in general. But for my generation, I think it will stay something to play with, including a few exceptions. For example, in the medical sector, it's used for real. It has improved their options to do operations.
Yes.
And things like that.
And training, particularly as well, for medical students.
But I think it will take a long time until it affects the life of everybody. That it would be a real option to meet in the virtual cafe instead of
Yes. Right. We might be able to get our body language, might be able to come across better.
yes.
I'm already thinking about that. Yes.
Yes, but then it's only an add-on. I don't know if we will touch this later, but the breakthrough of the internet was real groundbreaking because it solved problems we really had, or it gave us big advantages and opportunities, and also the smartphones make us they give us opportunities to solve problems or to make things more convenient we have in our real life. And maybe my horizon is a bit limited at the moment. I don't know if I should be more imaginative, but I think this virtual reality doesn't really solve problems or doesn't meet needs we have at the moment that are so urgent that everybody would like to use it.
Just I
Yes.
would like to add to Andrea's speech, and I think that we're talking about not a substitution, digitals to our real life. We're talking about combination. So of course it could improve our life so just we can use it like a tool. For me, it's kind of additional tool, not just like to watch movies only with the glasses, or just to of course, if I can, I prefer physical reality, just real reality, not just like to substitute everything. And firstly, my priority is physical world. And of course, if I could, for example, just I don't see anything. If I just use my glasses, I could see better. So just, and of course, if I need them, so just I do it. So I use the tool, but I try to avoid using it the whole time. So that's my attitude to everything. If I could avoid just such kind of digitals, and I know that how it affects my mood, my physical. So just what I say, just it's kind of like additional help and additional tool just to improve my life, not just a substitution. I mean, digitals, these kind of or smart glasses or other things.
Yes, that's a good point. And the other thing they talk about, as well as virtual reality, is this augmented reality, which has the idea of adding things into the real world. I just wonder about you, because I know you, before COVID, you perhaps traveled to China quite often and looked at products in the metaverse. You might be able to do that and almost touch them, or get a 3D view of all these products. Is that something that appeals to you, or would you rather go there in person?
I think it's now it's impossible. They didn't create such a tool how to watch products and could analyze them, and it's impossible. A lot of my partners, they try to use really tours and digital tours, but it was not good because that internet connection and the speed is not so fast as you need it, and so of course that it's not clear now. Just okay for me just to not to have a higher resolution of the of my of the picture now. Yes, I don't see you clearly. Yes, but if I choose the product and I have to see it clearly, and I have to touch it and I have to see the quality, so it's impossible just to make a good and proper evaluation of the product.
Okay, yeah, there's definitely some key points that you bring up, and Andreas mentioned about the 5G, and perhaps it's going to be so much more data, so the internet speeds will need to increase.
But
Yeah.
I also have, sorry.
Sure, please.
I also have doubts. We also talk about the best. There's a big range of quality, and if everybody talks about 5G and it will solve all problems, but when I look to my place, I'm in a big city and we have good internet. But if you leave the city, move only a few kilometers, it may happen that there's no internet at all. There's no
Right. Yeah.
4G or LTE anymore, and so these ideas always cover the best thing you might expect, but there's this very wide range, and to make it really usable for everybody, it has to deal with these things, and our infrastructure still is in development.
Yes, definitely. There's a lot of questions.
Yes, just we don't have like a perfect infrastructure. Yes, I agree. Perfect infrastructure. I mean, just perfect. Just I should see the picture that should be the same that I see in my real world, in what around me. So, but now just if I make a screen, what I see now, you would see how my picture is not so bright, not so clear. To even just to see maybe just the background, the titles of your books, but they are really close to the monitor. It's really
Right.
that's a weak point of the quality, that of the screen quality.
It's true, and it's a good point, and we do have this kind of uneven distribution. But as we mentioned before, even this kind of thing, let's say 15 years ago, might have been, we had video calls, but to have these video conferencing like we do today wasn't really feasible. It would be broken up. At least most of the time we can connect, and the quality is generally pretty good. So we have come a ways, as Mark Zuckerberg might say. So I think perhaps it's only going to move in one direction. The internet is only going to get better. The service is only going to.
I think that it's the main thing. It's not about internet. It's about the equipment. So maybe just we have to change the equipment. The equipment is not as good as we have really perfect internet connection. Just that's about.
It's true. Yeah, it's just the hardware and the software and the internet connection.
Yes.
So what about the metaverse then? How do you feel? Because you see yourself getting into this, putting on whatever device you have to put on, and going and hanging out with friends. How would you feel being in a meeting where there were real people sitting there, and a kind of projected hologram, perhaps, of somebody else sitting next to you? Does this concept, does it worry you? Does it scare you? Are you indifferent to this? How do you feel about it at the moment?
The kind of a game, yes. Just for me now, just like augmented reality, it's only about games. But I'm not a fan of games, So for me, it's better just to see a screen and just have a conference like we have now, not just like to wear the glasses and to see that you and trick my brain that you sit in front of me, and just sometimes I know that and my brain would think that you are real. I'm not sure that's how you want to.
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
good point. Where do we have this, this kind of boundary between what is real and what is virtual?
Yes.
Andreas?
Yeah, I'm open to try these things out, and for me it's also more something to play around at the moment. And I think about what we plan to do at work for the next few weeks. We wanted to meet the first time in real again, from different people from different places in Germany. The first meeting in real, and the opportunity to socialize again. And now the situation becomes more serious again. So at least one part, some members of this group will attend via video and not travel to the place. So I think about how would it be in a few years, maybe in 10 years, would it be a good alternative to make it virtual, so some people could travel there and some would sit at home and be connected nevertheless to the other people, because now there's the one group socializing there, and the other group that only will be attending for the conference. So maybe I play around with thoughts. This would be something to try out.
So we should we should discuss it in 10 years. We should be back and discuss it again.
It's true, but again, there was a great quote. I can't remember exactly who said it. I think he said something like, "The future is already here. It's just unevenly distributed." So maybe these technologies that we're talking about people are using them in perhaps tests in some places, or in cutting edge laboratories. But yeah, I think one thing that I saw when I watched the introduction by Mark Zuckerberg, one thing he mentioned also was education, which I hadn't thought of, but it showed a young girl with her grandma, and they wanted to learn about space, and they could go on the balcony and have a look through this kind of virtual world with Saturn and the rings, and really zoom in and click around. And it looked quite futuristic. I don't think all the technology is right here now, but it did. And they also talked about the medical application that you mentioned, that this is already being used to teach medical students. I don't know if it's being used by surgeons as well for actual operations, but yeah, it's quite mind-blowing, really. Quite interesting.
Yes, they put a lot of hope in this sector. It's not only Facebook, it's a competition already.
Yes.
And they probably, it's like a bet. You don't know if what you will get in return, but you have to be within the game, because only then they have the chance to win, these big companies. But it's not only one crazy idea of one person.
No.
It's already a competition between a lot of companies.
Yes, and I guess that's what happened with the internet, as Natalia mentioned, perhaps from 30 years ago. no one really knew where it was going, but some people placed bets, if you like. They took a chance on it, and there was some.
So just for me, it's also interesting is about finance system, that how we can avoid really physical money, and so just how we can substitute them into cryptocurrency. So my son, is working for the company just about cryptocurrency, and he tried to explain to me how it works, and he is really for this system because it's not regulated by the government, by anyone. Just it's kind of universe. It's like the same like metaverse. That's like how we can make transactions, and they will be cheaper, and they are cheaper, and so we can buy everything, and so just without having physical money at all. For me, it's really difficult to imagine that system and how they could really implement it universal, because you know that government and banks, they of course they are against, and they try to block and to, but it's not successful, because the blockchain, they continue to work and to grow and to develop.
Yes, it's really interesting. And there is another concept, if you like, which has been popularized by one person who I know. It's about this NFT. Have you heard of this concept before? Non-fungible
token?
Non-fungible token, right? Okay. Yes, thanks. So, Natalia, can you explain what is the NFT?
That's kind of it's kind of like a transaction. Yes, it's a substitution that you can buy something without money, just being registered in the system, and then just to ask to use a kind of what systems is good for you, just like the blockchain. So you can choose where the commission is low, so you can make a transaction, and so just it's really not a it's kind of several, not companies, several systems are integrated into it. It's not like a bank. So, for example, I have a bank like Raiffeisen Bank or just their bank. So, just like I just make a transaction from A to B. It's kind of A, B, C, D. So many things are involved. So now, and it's really cheap. So, and you have to, of course, there is a big system, and it's really difficult for me to explain. But
yes, I don't completely understand myself. I just have some idea of what it is. I've heard of people creating things, whether it be a physical product or something else, and giving it this value, which is non-fungible, which cannot change. But
so because there is not one company that's the owner of just everything. There are a lot of companies integrated. The miners who just you can change physical money to cryptocurrency, or maybe you not. It should change so you can. So that's really interesting system. But I'm really maybe just I will find time to study it more clearly, because my son is working for the company, and so of course I'm like a mom. I'm interested to know more, just in order to discuss such topics.
Okay, it's great. So now I want to maybe look at the potential downsides. We can talk about more pros as well, but also cons or the dangers that, this potentially, if everyone's online already, the online world, there's certain dangers attached. And to a certain extent, people have been learning as they go along. I mean, everyone, and there are dangers and there are safety measures that we can put in place. But this kind of almost takes it to the next step. If you can completely represent yourself in a virtual world, what's to stop people hacking in and, you know, really pretending to be you as they might do at the moment? We have identity theft. Does this not threaten to take it to the next level? What do you think?
Yeah, if it's really, if this metaverse will really be commonly used, there will be a downside, and hackers and things like you described, I'm quite sure, because every positive thing in the digital world provoked ideas to harm the system and to make profit in a other way, in
A
an easy
non-ethical
way,
perhaps.
non-ethical way. Yes, and if this is, if everybody uses it, there will be this downside. I'm quite sure. Probably this. Yeah, another downside is the personal perspective. I think at the moment it's not possible to substitute personal contact and physical contact to other people by a software, and it's just a software. And of course, this software will also replace negative things in your behavior or in your outfit. It will only show the positive sides.
Right.
Because you won't buy it or use it if you're displayed as with all your faults.
Avatar will
Yes,
be healthy and handsome.
healthy. Yes.
Yes, I
But
agree that. Oh, sorry.
no,
Just
it was
just want to continue to about downsides. Just about, of course, we were talking a lot about it, right? Just about pros, and of course, there are a lot of advantages of this system because it could help to improve our life. Just of course, it's good just to improve and be better, and of course, we are happy to have this system. But anyway, just talking about privacy and talking about hackers and so on, safety. But anyway, guys, we have gadgets, we have mobile phones. Everyone has a mobile phone. If just someone could track us or just to find, it's easy to do it because Sputnik and there's a mobile phone. It's a they could use radio waves, and so it's easy. It's just having a mobile phone even if it's switched off. So it's easy to find your location, your place, and so just. But for example, if you're a spy of it, yes, you're an important person. Just and if somebody would like to find you, they could do it. And so that's thing that of course we should think how to protect our data because for me, okay, I could just save. So for example, now just I have physical money just at home. I know that that if it's necessary, if it's necessary, I could use it. But of course, I have some money on my bank account and so on. But having just such a kind of virtual not physical objects. And for me, I'm scared about it, just because it's. We know that system could be cracked, just could be blocked, and so on. And so we are so vulnerable. And I don't know the answer to this question. What if the system just is blocked, or just is something happened?
But we already have this, don't we, in a sense? For transactions you make online, you don't hand over the physical cash. You already use a card or some other system to send money electronically. I
Yes,
think these,
now just say I know that it's something that just happened now. Just okay, I can take my physical money to go to this shop and to buy food, but just if we can imagine, so just we don't at all, so we can't buy anything for physical money, and so
right, yeah.
it's
I've heard
real.
in
It's a
China
horrible.
that's almost the way already, the use of, transactions using phones, physical cash is becoming rare, relatively rare, from what
Yeah,
I've
so
heard.
just I'm not sure that I would be happy just to, I now just I know that I have choice. I can choose, and so just I have kind of like a support, physical support.
Yeah,
Um,
kind
yes,
of
just
backup.
now just in the key. I'm happy just what I have now, but we will see in 10 years. Of course, maybe I could change my mind.
Yes, and you mentioned data, and this is a good point as well. Our data, which we will be disclosing by using this metaverse or another metaverse, because as mentioned, they strive for breaking down these borders between applications, and so they will get much more connected data than they do now, and this is very precious for, as you know, for Facebook, for example. So
Right. Yes.
this is
They,
also one
yeah, it
aspect.
has been in the news how they use this data. Yeah, it's definite concerns, especially if all this centralized data. So, um, yeah, it just made me think actually when you were talking about this safety in our data. I don't know if it's the same where you are, but I recently spoke to my bank on the phone and they said the new system now is, would you like to have voice operated security for your account? And he assured me that it was much safer and it was, fail safe. I don't know, but I have heard elsewhere that these voices can be, you know, faked, can be imitated. But he says that the technology now is such that the program can detect really to, I guess it to whatever accuracy. If the bank is happy to use it, it must be pretty good. They say it's safer than any other system they have at the moment. So I now have voice activated banking for security. So it made me think it's just one thing, because I know I think again Mr. Zuckerberg talked about that in his full keynote about they showed some really kind of futuristic stuff, but some of it was just the voice activation. If you wanted to have something, you could just give the command straight away. It would be there. So let me ask you if you have any final thoughts, because I think we're going to wrap it up in a minute. What's your
Final thoughts.
overall
That's
impression? Yes.
good topic for discussing just and really it's interesting just to see how the situation will continue and what will happen in 10 years. I think that 2 or 3 years it's not enough just to analyze and compare, but anyway, just pandemic period really showed us that how the world and our mindset could be changed. So just 2 years ago, we couldn't really predict that it's possible that just to live in this reality and have kind of so just we can travel easily, and so just so many things, and so just so many restrictions and so on. So we couldn't imagine 2 years ago. So why it's interesting just to see.
Thank you. Good point.
Yes, and I'm not sure if I should be happy or sad that I can't look into the far future, how things will develop. I think in 10 years, it will also be just a foretaste of how it might be in the far future because of the mentioned difficulties in infrastructure, and so I think it will be a certain group using this technology. But the interesting point would be how widespread it will become, how normal in our lives.
Yes. Well, watch this space. I'll keep you up to date for when the first English cafe is going to be launched virtually, and you are both welcome.
Thank you, David.
Until then, enjoy the rest of your day, and perhaps in real life, real reality.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, how we use it, how we used to do and to spend. Thank you, David.
Okay.
That was awesome.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. Thank you, Andreas. See you
Thank
both
you.
soon.
Have a
Cheers.
good day.
Thank
Have a
you.
good